Hello everyone, welcome to Iron Grit Strength. Today we are talking about the deadlift. Yes. Again, I've done other videos on this, but where I'm starting all over again, I'm going to be going over some previous stomping ground, but maybe there'll be a bit of new light injected on it. Maybe there won't. I'm probably going to cut this up into sections. I'm going to cut it into sections. This is all about the bottom half of your deadlift, also known as your legs. Now, first thing is first with a deadlift. There is a reason why I've got these drumsticks. So I've got some visual aid. Right. The first thing that is first is walking up to the barbell. This bird's eye view barbell, right? Toes, heel, middle of the foot. When we walk up to the barbell, we don't walk up to the barbell, we walk through the barbell. So there's our toes, there's our heel, middle of the foot. That is where we want to be. Now, from this position, where are our legs in terms of the width? They want to be underneath our hips in a straight line. Why do they want to be like that? Because that is how we are able to generate more force through our legs. If I was to ask you right now to stand up and jump as high as you could or as far as you could, you would not jump in a sumo-y position. Well, maybe you would, but I doubt it. I'm almost certain that, it's almost like a natural biomechanical thing. Your body will, your legs will naturally go underneath your hips, because a straight line is where you are going to get more force. Say you jumped like, I don't know, like that. I mean, that's a pretty extreme bend of the legs. But let's say, for the sake of arguing, you decided to do that. And I said jump, and you go, ah. Right. A straight line. Leg in a straight line, say jump. Ah. The natural control. So, feet underneath the hips. And we walk through the barbell. Your shins want to be about an inch away from the barbell. They do not want to be touching the barbell. Different angle. That's the barbell. That's still the barbell. This has now gone from a foot into a leg. Yeah? That's the footy bit. That's your kneecappy bit. That's your shins. If you walked straight up to the barbell and your shins were touching from here, when you bend down to pick the barbell up, what is going to happen? You're going to push the barbell away. Not ideal. Another thing, now you've pushed the barbell away, as you pick it up, you're going to drag it all the way up your shins, losing a few layers of skin. That's why when you see people deadlifting, or sometimes, I tend to keep them on throughout the entire competition, you see us wearing those big socks. It is not a fashion statement. It is to protect our shins when we are deadlifting. That is the main purpose for it. So, we walk through the bar. Our shins are about an inch away from the bar. Bar, leg. So, about that. Now, when we bend down to put our hands on the bar, to grip onto the bar, now our shins are touching. Isn't it still going to rip your shins? Maybe, maybe not. But as you stand up, what's going to happen is you want to keep the bar tight to your body, but it's still going to possibly just away. You're gonna, yeah, you'll scrape a little bit. Of course you will. That's fine. It doesn't matter if you scrape a little bit once you pick the thing up. What you don't want to do is have your shins pushing the bar away before you actually get yourself into the position to hold the bar. So that is deadlift, foot position covered. Why are we going into the bar? Because now our body being closer to the bar, we are now turning it into just one straight pull of motion. If we step here and there's your toes, there's the bar, what's going to happen? We're going to have to lean our body forward more to get this. So our shoulders are going to be hunched forward, and we're going to have to pull the bar in closer towards us as we do the lift. So we're adding a movement we do not need. Strength. Well, strongman, it's not about, yeah, it's about muscles, but mostly it's about movement. You want to be able to move as much force as effectively as possible. This does mean working out how the biomechanics of your body work. If you don't know, that's fair enough. You don't need to know everything. You can always hire a coach if you want to know more. If you don't, in the meantime, you can just subscribe to the page anyway. Let's get me to 1,000. Right. So, where were we? Yes, we've walked through to the bar because now the bar is closer to our body. The weight is in more control. So the foot walks through the bar an inch away from the bar, and our feet are underneath our hips. So you look at our legs, straight. Legs 11. None of this, none of that. Legs 11. Right? There we go. So that is the foot position under the bar. That is the leg position, number 11. That is the feet, the leg away from the bar. Give yourself an inch. That is the bottom section of the deadlift. The next video we'll be talking about our arms, where we want them to be. And as a caveat, maybe that's the wrong word, I don't even know. I am just talking here strictly about conventional deadlifts. I have sumoed in the past, but never for any weight worth talking about. And I'll be perfectly honest, it was part of a program, so I included it in and I ran it. This is going back a year, I think. And I don't like them. I'm not keen on sumos. And as long as I'm competing in strongman, there will never be a sumo deadlift in strongman. It's just not. It's not one of the things we do. You'll have different variations, pulling from different heights, pulling cars, whatever else, lifting cars. But yeah, you'll never be doing it in a sumo stance. So that is conventional stance for deadlift, for feet and the legs and shins width from the bar. Now, some people may stand a little bit wider, not sumo wide, but a little bit wider. But I think that really, again, that's not necessarily conventional. And that is all I am talking about. So there you go. That is the conventional foot stance, leg, everything for the deadlift. So if you're worried about where you should be standing, how you should be standing, how far away you should be standing, hopefully this has covered it for you. So to recap, because, you know, drill it in. That's the barbell. You walk through the barbell. So your shins are about an inch away from the bar. Legs. You want your legs to be straight underneath the hips. Right? Feet through the bar, legs straight, inch away from the barbell. That is how conventionally you should be trying to stand for your deadlift. Right. So that's that covered. Right. Yeah, I've been doing a bit of drumming today. I'm not... This has got nothing to do with training or anything. I am predominantly a guitarist, but I can't commit to a band. So, to make things a little bit different, you know, I do a lot of acoustic stuff, but I want to be able to do some of the electric stuff as well. So I got this electric drum kit a while ago. I've had a bass guitar for, I don't know, years. So, for one song so far, I've recorded the drums and the bass and put them onto a little loop pedal. Oh, unplug that. One moment. There we go. Into that. So what I do is I plug that into like the PA system, and the PA system will then play the drums and the guitar and the bass guitar, and then I'll get my Lecky guitar or an acoustic for just like a heavy acoustic-y stuff, and then that will play over into that. So I'll be like the ultimate one-man band. Well, maybe not the ultimate. Very much sound like I'm building a shed with the drums at the moment, but you know, that's nothing to do with anything. But that basically, that's why I've had these, you know. So there we go. That's the deadlift. That is the deadlift. The feet part of it. There will be a second video. It might be out today. I'll try and get it out today, and that will probably be, obviously be out where you want your arms to be and what have you. Right. Okay. As always, keep strong, keep happy, and keep healthy. And I'll see you on the next video. And if you haven't yet already, subscribe. Let's get me to 1,000. Ta-da.